You have this document. It's in your membership area. If you're in the beta group right now, I'm going to be emailing it to you and uploading it to the membership area. If you're watching this down the line, then it's in your membership area. So download it. Okay. So reframing your foundation worksheet. So this is a worksheet. Now I give credit to a guy named Kimanji Constable. He was a coach that I had hired. He was a coach that that helped me with some stuff. Very smart, very good at what he does. And when I went with him, he had a worksheet very similar to this. I changed a few things, very similar, that really helped me expand my mind, because I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to create a pitch? Because he's helped me create a pitch for something else. Like, how am I going to there's so much, your mind goes everywhere in what you do. So just answer these questions, and that'll help you so much get clarity on exactly what you need to include. It'll just open your mind. All right. So, reframing your foundation worksheet. So this right here, basically the purpose of this is to make yourself look good, because you want to make yourself look good in your pitch to the podcaster. If you can do that, if you can make yourself look good to the podcaster, you're in good shape. They're going to want you on their show. They're going to beg you on their show. Like I said, remember early in one of the last segments, I mentioned you guys that I'm going to be on a podcast soon with that has 28,000 entrepreneurs worldwide. Well, guess what? I didn't even pitch them. They pitched me. They came to me 2-3 weeks ago. They came to me saying, hey, Ryan, we heard you on a podcast, I don't know, 1-2 years ago. It was this particular podcast. I didn't remember what podcast that was. All right. What podcast are they talking about? I've been on a ton over the last couple of years, but that's irrelevant. So they came to me and said, hey, we listened to your show. We listened to you on this show. You were so good. You were so engaging. We want you to be on our show. They came to me because why? I'm not saying this to be like, like a douchey or cocky or anything, but I made myself look good. I have my foundation set. Everything looked good. I knew what I was saying. They saw me as an expert. This podcast host, who has 28,000 highly engaged followers worldwide, automatically saw me as an expert just because I was a guest on another show. I didn't even do anything. I was just a guest on another show, and I gave really good value, and they automatically saw me as an expert. They put me up on their level, and they're inviting me to go on their show to be on their level. They're going to pitch me their audience. It's that easy. But how did I get to that point? By doing all this right here, by making myself look good. Now, I'm not saying you guys don't look good or you don't have the experience or skills, expertise. You guys do. Everyone here, you have experience. You have expertise. You have skills. You have this good resume. You've done tons of stuff. Okay? Now use all that and make yourself look good. Not saying you don't look good, but there's a way to frame it where you can just make it really powerful and people will be like, wow, that's really good. I want her on my show. I want him on my show. Let's do this. Let's rock and roll. That's the purpose of this. All right, so let's get into this. You're gonna answer these questions in this guide, and it'll give you a great start when formulating your bio. The first one is question number 1, media. Any media you've been featured in. If you've been featured in anything, Forbes, news outlets, this could be industry related or even not. Even, have you been on podcasts before? If you have, write every single podcast down. Have you been on radio shows before? Have you done radio shows before? Participated in interviews, TV appearances, anything media related. Have you been mentioned in a blog? Have you been mentioned in an article? Publications, magazines? Have you written for blogs or articles? Have you had a podcast before? Have you had a radio show before? Anything that you've done that's media related, where it's getting your name out there, whether it's podcast, blog, radio, interview, PR, an article on you on Fox News or ABC News or CBS News or CNN, whatever, anything. I'm not saying you're going to put all this in your bio. Right now, you're not writing out your bio. You're not. You're answering these questions. You're going to take these answers to formulate your bio after. Okay? So anything media related. Question number 2, years in your specialty. Okay? How many years do you bring under your experience? Now, if you read in here, it talks about this doesn't have to be what you're necessarily currently doing right now. So, for example, like I'm currently doing this, like this podcasting right now and helping you guys get featured and mentioned and build credibility, establish credibility, and get a highly engaged following and ethically steal an audience. But I haven't been doing it for that long. I've done it for the last couple of years, just on my own. But everything I've done over the last 15 years has given me experience to where I'm at right now. I've learned from my previous job years ago, I've learned how to talk with people. I've learned how to present. My previous employer gave me the skills to be able to do what I'm doing right now. So was I podcasting back then? No, I wasn't. But it gave me so much experience for so many years that led me to where I am right now, that I'm taking everything I learned and applying it right now. So I have years of experience in doing this. I have years of experience in talking to people. I have years of experience presenting. I have years of experience, in helping people and training people. So is the subject new? Podcasting? Well, yeah, but I have years of experience in doing what I'm doing right now, which is helping people. So think, what have you done over the years, whether if you work for an employee, any insight you've had, any training you've had, any jobs you've had that you got the experience to get you to where you are right now. All right. Hours. Answer the same question, but in hours wise. How many hours have you put into your craft? All right. That can be studying, researching, working, training, helping, learning, teaching, volunteering, literally anything that has given you the knowledge, experience, or anything related in any way that's gotten you to where you are right now. Okay. I know someone who's been dying to create their own barbecue course. Now this person has the best barbecue. When I say barbecue, I mean like food, like smoked ribs and brisket and all that good stuff. I love that. And this person honestly has the best barbecue smoke. He's a smoker. He smokes the ribs and stuff. Smoke I've ever had in my life. They're so good. So good. We did an activity about a year ago for our church, and there's probably like 40 people there. It was like all guys. And this person, was asked to smoke some ribs, but no one's had that before but me. And so he brought like 6 racks of ribs, or maybe more than that, all smoked. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, those are so amazing. You think about these for the next 2 weeks. How do you do this? This is amazing. Where can I buy some? Like, they're just so good. He doesn't have any accolades. He doesn't have any awards or anything like that. And he's like, I don't have any awards. I don't know if I can do. I'm like, dude, how many hours have you put into this? I said, you've been studying, learning, experimenting, with smoking. How many smokers have you had? How many times have you smoked? How many hours? It takes him like 12 hours to smoke like one batch. And he's done that like tons of times. It's taken him hours and hours and hours and hours of research and videos and watching and tutorials and courses that he's done literally over like 10 years to get to where he's at right now with these specialty prime rubs that he has. He has his own signature rub and own way of doing it. Like, he literally has like 10 years of experience, and he has like thousands of hours of experience in doing this, but he's like, I can't look good because I don't have like an actual restaurant or haven't won any awards. I'm like, who cares about that? It's all about the outcome. How many years do you have doing it? How many hours have you put into your craft? He's like, I guess you're right. So don't worry about that. Just answer these questions, okay? Question number 4, degree, certification, and or case studies. Now, do you have any degrees? Do you have your bachelor's? Do you have your master's? Do you have your AA from junior college? Whatever you have, put it in here, or just not in your bio. Just answer this question. Just write it down. This includes any certifications, any specialty trainings that you've had as well. Like, I've taken Stephen M. R. Covey, the Speed of Trust course. All right. I flew out to Utah some years back. Flew to Utah. I was actually there live in person. He gave it was the training in person. It was a 2-day event. So I actually got the certification of going through the Stephen M. R. Covey Speed of Trust, which is massive. Okay. Now, is that necessarily a business degree? No. Is that like a marketing degree? No. But it's still relevant and establishes credibility, on my resume, on my bio. Like, if someone were to see that, like, oh, sweet, that's a pretty cool certification. Even though it doesn't really help me become a better marketer per se, it still establishes credibility. So any certifications you have, any degrees you have, if you've taken a course, anything that you have, just write it down. And case studies. So think about, what case studies did you have? All right. So have you helped someone achieve this? Do you have any clients that you've helped achieve a certain goal that's just been amazing? Do you have any customers that you have that's just been amazing? Have you helped someone accomplish something so massive that you just want to share with the world? So think of your degree, certifications, and case studies, and write everything down you could think of. Don't hold back. Everything you could think of. Question number 5. Organizations you've worked with, for, impacted, or interacted with. So anything you've worked with as an employee, trained at, learned from, volunteered, taking courses from, talked to, or associated with in any positive way. Write it all down. Okay, just write it all down. Who have you impacted? Who have you worked with? Who have you worked for? Just write it all down. Like I said, all this, you may think, oh, I'm not gonna put that in my bio. Don't worry about that. This isn't necessarily going in your bio. You're getting your mind to expand so you can think of everything you've done over the years. You're gonna cherry pick the best things and you're gonna put that in your bio. Remember, you're preparing your foundation. Doesn't mean you're gonna take every single thing word for word and put it in there. You're just preparing your foundation. You're trying to really take everything that you've done, all your knowledge, and put it in one spot. You're simplifying the process. Question number 6, mentors, coaches. Who have you learned from? Who has taught you? Who has trained you? Have you gone through a coaching program? Do you have a mentor or someone you've talked to that has given you advice in any way, shape, or form? Have you studied someone or modeled your business after a certain person? I don't know. You know, like in my past employer years ago, there was a program where certain people would go and they'd fly out to, what's his name? Oh, Lee Brower. He's a world-renowned like executive coach. He's so good, and people pay him a truckload of money to learn from him. He teaches. He's a strategic coach. His actual process is called his company's called like Strategic Coach, and he's huge. He's massive, highly respected worldwide. So I didn't personally go with him. I wasn't there flying out like once a quarter and going to this 2-day workshop. But what happened is people would come back, fly back in our office. They'd fly back after the workshop, and we sit down in his office, and they would teach everything in our office. All right, so I was getting all the content like firsthand, you know, like right secondhand. Like we would implement everything. I see the workbooks, I would see everything. Like so, I was involved in like the whole process. So I learned from Lee Brower. That in person, no, but the company, like our office, paid like thousands of dollars to go out there and learn and bring that back. Okay, so that was like a mentor / coach that our office was going through. And I was involved in the whole process, even though I didn't physically meet him. Anything you could think of. Projects. Counting all of your webinars, teleconferences, online trainings, radio programs, client projects, engagements, speaking engagements, and any and all other ways that you have delivered your expertise. Anything, including presentations that you gave while you were an employee working for a company. How many people in the world have you impacted by your knowledge and expertise? Do your best to estimate this. So how many people have you impacted? Everything you've done, ever talked to about anything that you're doing right now. How many people have you impacted? Have you been on a podcast before and there's 1,000 people? Have you been on, like I said, I can literally say that I've impacted over 4 million people because I've been on a radio show with 4 million listeners. You know, like, so just get your mind to expand. What have you done? Who have you talked to? Groups, presentations, even if you're just talking to a small group in your classroom, you know, that right there can be 40 people, whatever. How many people have you impacted, you know, over the years with your knowledge or expertise? And then the last one, question number 8, is research findings. What accomplishments have you contributed to, whether as an employee or in your field of expertise? Any groundbreaking findings, research, data collected, breakthroughs, inventions, or accomplishments that you would directly achieve by yourself or in a group? Do you have any proprietary steps, formulas, or recipes? Okay, so think, do you have a recipe? Do you have a formula? Do you have a foundational process? Do you have a system? Were you involved in college? Maybe you're involved in a group. You guys won an award. You guys invented this. Whatever. Just get your mind to think anything you've been involved with, a past employer, that you've been involved in a project, a contribution where there's some sort of accomplishment, and just write it down. So this right here, okay, is your guys's. If you're, like I say, if you're watching this right now, I'm gonna email. If you're watching this live, I'll be emailing it to you. And if you're watching this down the road, just go ahead and download it in the members area. Okay, it's yours to use and to go off of. So you're gonna need to go through and answer all these questions and preparing your foundation right.